Before generating a material report, you first have to collect the materials, which we can do from the Output tab, and the first function is Collect Materials. I'm going to choose all of the drawings, and then we could choose whether we're going to estimate the wall framing material based on the lineal footage of the walls, or we can get the accurate materials if we had generated the wall framing materials. Since in this tutorial we haven't generated the wall framing materials, we can just use the lineal foot method in order to estimate that lumber. Anything that has material code in the project will then get collected into the collected materials database. I'll click OK to close that database, which is now saved within the project, and then we can run a report. I'll select Generate Material Report, and I'll start with just the general bill of materials. Vertex then opens a list of the materials that will eventually end up on the final report. I'm just going to click OK to close this dialog. Then the report will open in your default text editor or spreadsheet editor, depending on which report you selected. This report will give us all the components that we added to the project, as well as estimated framing materials, drywall material based on the square footage of the walls, flooring material based on the square footage of the floors we had drawn. The interior trim materials are coming from the room definitions that we added to the layout. We also get the ceiling and floor area for each room that we had defined, as well as the door and window area, the volumes of each room, the wall area, and we also get the exterior sheathing and finish materials based on the square footage of the exterior walls, and finally all the window components we had added. We can close the report, and it's now saved within the project. I'm going to go back to the reports list, and we can look at the other reports we have available. The general BOM with material selection is an example of how you can set up optional materials. We have our interior trim set up as an example. So here you can choose if you want to add the different types of interior trim, and then what kind of material is going to be used for that trim. We also have the exterior trim material set up as an option. So now the material report reports those trim pieces, indicating the material that was selected. That same functionality can be set up for other types of material as well. I'm going to close this report, and let's go back to the reports list. And we see we have reports for the different object types. You can create door and window schedules. You can also send the reports directly to Excel spreadsheets. Then we have a whole group of cutting lists, which is very useful when you're generating your framing layouts. So you can create the cutting lists for the wall materials, floor materials, roof materials, and so forth. You can get your total lineal feet of framing materials, the minimum waste reports, which optimize the material and tell you how to cut your stock lumber to get minimum amounts of waste, and reports for wall panels and sheathing. One important thing to remember is if you make any changes to your model, you must go back and recollect the materials. This is to ensure that you get the most up-to-date list of materials into your reports.